Welcome to Two Girls in a Pod Life's Journey, where we explore the journey of becoming the best version of ourselves. Join me, Christy, and my partner Sharon, a licensed professional counselor for over 20 years, as we dive into conversations with inspiring individuals who've overcome obstacles and achieved their goals. We'll discuss the power of self-awareness, compassion, and collaboration, and how embracing our authentic selves can create a ripple effect of positive change. Let's embark on this path of growth, empowerment, and connection together. I want to remind you to follow us on social media. If you love this podcast, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. If you'd like to find out more about what goes on behind the scenes, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Adventures of Two Girls in a Pod, where we highlight some of our travels near and far. Or watch Sharon mix up a batch of drinkable delights on Sip and Savor. Also, if you love this podcast, leave us a review on Spotify. This helps us get discovered by even more amazing listeners like yourself. Share with your friends and family, and make sure to subscribe to our website at twogirlsinapod.com so that you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. We are so super excited today. We always get excited when we have guests on, but today, different kind of excitement, and we'll let you know as we talk about this really important topic, I think, particularly to women.
Yeah, we want to welcome Liz Hansen, who's a photographer at Chicago Boudoir. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
And I think the reason, for me, this is such an exciting topic is, as a mental health therapist and working with women for the past 20 plus years, body image is such a huge thing. And it sounds like kind of what you're doing is kind of helping women embrace their body image, would you say?
Yeah, so if you've never heard of boudoir, boudoir is just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. What I do as a boudoir photographer is I have created a safe space for women to come and take sexy, sensual photos of themselves in order to feel more confident in their own skin. And I've been doing this full time for 8 years, and I just really, really love working with women and helping them feel beautiful.
So real quickly with that is, how did you decide this was something you wanted to do? I mean, what drove you into this field, say?
So I was a photographer doing weddings, families, babies, things like that. I'd heard, some of my peers doing this boudoir. This was about 10 years ago. And so I decided to sign up for a boudoir photo shoot of my own. And this was really out of my comfort zone. I'd never done anything like this before. And I definitely walked into the experience sort of feeling like I was doing something a little bit naughty, right? Like good girls, quote unquote, good girls wouldn't do something like a boudoir photo shoot where you take pictures in lingerie or nude or partially nude, right? But I am not exaggerating when I say that that experience was transformative for me. I walked out of that photo shoot feeling like I wanted to show up in my life in bigger and better ways. I wanted to take more risks. I wanted to live more expansively. And I, a few years later, decided to open up my own boudoir studio to offer women that same experience where they could step outside their comfort zone, really celebrate themselves, and also feel this increased confidence.
That is awesome.
It is. And I think because women have such, not issues, but we'll call it issues for lack of a better word, around body image. How do you, because when they're walking in, I would imagine their anxiety for a lot of them is like over the top. What is it that you do that helps to calm that and help them to embrace this experience a little bit more?
Yeah, so women come to my studio for all kinds of different reasons. Some people are there for a happy reason. Maybe they are getting married to the love of their life, and we're going to do a bridal boudoir session. Maybe they are having their first baby, and we're going to, celebrate that glorious baby bump. Maybe they are celebrating their 30th or their 40th birthday, right? And they might be nervous, but they're also in a celebratory mood, right? But other women come to my studio for more difficult reasons. Maybe they have gotten divorced or left a domestic violence situation and they want to feel a sense of freedom again. Maybe they have a breast cancer diagnosis and they want to come to the Boudoir studio because of that, or before breast surgery or after breast cancer surgery. Maybe they've had a loss in their life and they're feeling the need to kind of celebrate and embrace life while they can, right? So, whatever reason you're coming to the Boudoir studio, there's no wrong reason to do boudoir. Each woman has their own unique reason for being there, and that creates like a unique situation for how the photo shoot will go as well. We are with women every step of the way. You come to the studio, you really don't have to do anything. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to practice in front of a mirror. You don't have to know what you're doing. That's my job. And so we even have a beauty team there to do your hair and makeup professionally to get you ready for the camera. So when you come into my studio, you just show up with clean, dry hair, no makeup on, and we take it from there. So even if you're nervous, we just show up, just be you. That's all you have to do.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. I mean, it sounds so empowering.
And I think that when I imagine that when women go in there, they have a perception of what their body looks like. And then what is that like when you see, because there will be some kind of physiological or something that takes place when they actually see the finished product.
Yeah, so something that we do at my studio that's really cool and it's different from the way a lot of studios operate is this. So you come to the studio and get your hair and makeup done. Then we do a wardrobe consult where we figure out what you're going to wear for the photo shoot. What accessories do you want to have this be light and bright and fun? Do you want it to be dark and sultry and moody? Do you want to wear 6 foot tall ostrich feather Victoria's Secret angel wings? Do you want to wear a lace robe? Do you want to use rose petals, handcuffs? What is it that you want to wear today to feel the way you want to feel during your photo shoot? Then you come into the studio and we take your pictures. I tell you exactly what to do and how to pose. There's music playing. There's going to be a little bit of dancing. It's very fun. And then right after I have created the pictures, you're going to go to the back, put your clothes back on, and I'm going to put a slideshow of your pictures up on a big screen that we have at the studio. You get to see your pictures right away. Of course, the instant gratification is really fun, but also I want women to see their pictures without Photoshop and without a filter. I want them to see how powerful and beautiful they are just as they are. Now, of course, later, if you have some acne or a bruise on your arm or something that you want me to Photoshop out, of course, I will do that. No charge for that. Of course, we can do any of post-processing editing that the pictures need. But I want you to have that moment where you look at the pictures, you see yourself, and you say, wow, that's really me. I can't believe it. Like, I've never seen this version of me, or it's been a while since I've appreciated this side of myself. And that, in my opinion, is where a lot of the power happens during the boudoir photo shoot, is during that same day photo reveal.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's interesting because I think there's such power in photography. And I think the photographer oftentimes sees things that other people don't. And I think that's the beauty of photography, because the photographer is actually seeing in you something maybe you're not able to see, and to be able to bring that out. And that's why photography, it doesn't matter if they're capturing a sunset or a sunrise or this or people in the streets or whatever it is, you're seeing something different. And when you're doing it as a photographer, is that what is happening with you when these people come in?
Absolutely. I mean, there is a little bit of magic with photography, right? Like a photograph, no matter what, it's not reality in the sense that it's a 2D take on our 3D, 4D world, right? So it is a slice of reality. And what a photographer can do is use lighting and posing and backdrops to show you a side of yourself that maybe you haven't seen before. For example, how many times have you seen a picture of your back or the back of your shoulders, right? Like not very often, right? Even in a mirror, it can be hard to see your own back, right? But I love taking pictures of women's backs. I think they're beautiful. I think they show strength. And I can create a really beautiful photo of your back that maybe you've just never seen that before, right? So there can be this moment of recognition like, wow, that's me, that's a part of me, and I've just never seen it or appreciated it before.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes total sense.
It is amazing what we don't see of our bodies. And sometimes, I've had people in the past who they don't have mirrors, and it's women. They won't have a mirror because they somehow what we see in the mirror sometimes is not a true reflection of what's really who we really are in a way, if that makes sense.
Well, as women, we have been socialized since we were little girls to believe that there's a really narrow set of beauty standards that we have to fit into in order to be considered valuable and worthy, right? And typically that means you have to be young and thin, right? And if we see ourselves outside of that narrow band of beauty standards, we can start feeling unworthy and undesirable. And it's not really fair, right? But this is the water we swim in, this is the air we breathe, this is the media we consume, these narrow beauty standards. And one of my missions as a boudoir photographer is to expand that definition to say, listen, sexy is not a size. Sexy is not a measurement. Sexy is not a cup size. Sexy is a vibe. Sexy is the way you show up. Sexy is the way that you approach the world, right? And can we expand out a little bit about what we believe to be acceptable and worthy and beautiful? Because I believe truly that every woman is beautiful and has innate value and worth and is deserving of being photographed and documented.
I love what you said right there. And that's the message that we always try to put out on the podcast is knowing your worth and knowing that when you do show up in that way, you are giving of yourself in a way that is so rewarding for you and even others. And it demonstrates that to the world. I really love that.
Well, and I think too, when you're creating that space, because what I really thought was interesting, I really liked about your thing is it's all women who work there.
Yeah. Have 100% female staff. We guarantee your privacy. So, of course, when you go to my website or my Instagram, you see a lot of the pictures I've taken, but those are only pictures that I have explicit permission to share, signed permission to share, right? If you don't want me to share your pictures, I will not share them. They will be private, 100% female staff. And I even have a 100% happiness guarantee, which means if you come in and we take some pictures and you're not just absolutely blown away by what I've created, not only do you don't have to buy them, you're under no obligation, but we'll refund you your session fee. I want you to feel so confident coming in here that you're in good hands that I offer that 100% happiness guarantee to everyone who steps in my door.
Oh, that's awesome. I did go to the website, which is chicagoboudoir.com, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you have some pictures on there of these ladies when they come in, just like you said, natural and everything. And then those photos, oh my God, they're amazing. It's really cool.
It's really fun to be a part of it. It feels like an honor, honestly, to be a part of this like intimate moment for women because I get to see these transformations every single day, coming in feeling nervous, leaving feeling confident, and that's really fun for me to watch and be a witness to.
It's always interesting because I think on our journeys through life, we sometimes don't realize those opportunities we can have to help us become a better version of who we are, not a better version, a more healthy version of who we are. Because I think that sometimes, with women, there's this amount of negative self-talk. My body and around bodies. So we're going to just keep it around body image. My body's not good enough. When you said about divorce, well, I must not have been, there's all of this stuff that takes place within that woman. And sometimes I don't think they realize that there's something like this that could help them be that stepping stone in that journey to recovery of that negativity that has been surrounding them.
Yeah, I mean, I do not blame women for having negative self-body image. It's just so easy when you look at the messages that young girls, teens, young women, middle-aged women of all ages receive from the media, from people in their lives about who they have to be and how they have to look, of course you would feel bad about your body if you thought you had to live up to this impossible standard of always looking like a Barbie, right? What I want for women is for them to move from a place of body negativity. Maybe you're saying, I hate my body, I hate my tummy, I hate my legs, I hate my arms, to a place of body neutrality. So if you can replace I hate with I have a body, just change that one letter, I hate my body, to I have a body. I have arms. And you know what? Arms allow me to give hugs. You know what? I have a tummy. And that tummy lets me enjoy delicious food. It lets me laugh, right? I have legs. And that's great. My legs let me walk and see interesting places and go on a walk by the lake and in the woods, right? And you don't even have to get to I love my body. That may be a leap too far. That's okay. You don't have to get there yet. But can you move from I hate my body to I have a body, to a place of gratitude for your body and what it does for you? And take a little bit of the focus off of what does my body look like and move a little bit more towards what does my body do for me? This is the vessel that your soul lives in. This is what allows you to sense the world, to experience the world, to love other people, right? So if you can move to having just a little bit of gratitude for that body as opposed to hatred, that will change a lot about how you see yourself and the love that you can put out into the world as well.
Yes, I love that.
We are so huge on gratitude.
Yeah.
We tell people there's always going to be life happening. We're not going to stop life from happening. But through our gratitude, when we pay attention to the little things we have, and you're right, if I can have gratitude for my body, my legs that still carry me the places I need to go, my hands that allow me to do the tasks that I love, then you're right, we change that narrative. But it's doing it. And I love how you said that it's not going from this all the way into this. And we always talk about baby steps. We always say we take baby steps, and each baby step we take is still getting you closer. But if I stay in that negative space, there's no movement. And this is about movement. And it was so cool to see your photos. And people, I'm telling you, get on the website, look at those photos. Yes. They are phenomenal. There is fluidity. There is so much that is conveyed in these beautiful photos of these beautiful women. And even to see that transformation, we were talking about this last night as we were looking and talking, and you're right. Each one was done in a different way. Somebody might wanted the shadows and all of that. And then some, it was all this more fun or whatever. But it showed personality. And how do you pick up on that person's personality? Because imagine through the photography, you want to still capture the essence or the personality of the person. How do you see that? And how do you bring that forward?
So every photo shoot starts with a phone call. We are going to do a little planning session before you come in. I want to hear about your goals. What do you want to feel during the shoot? What do you want to achieve? And then on the day of the shoot, I am going to work a lot with what you've told me and what you want to achieve. And I'm also going to take some photos that are maybe just a little bit outside of that. Maybe I'm going to push the boundaries just a little for you, because we can always delete pictures. If you don't like them, no big deal. But it's so often, if I take pictures, like for example, let's say someone tells me, I want mostly sort of a happy vibe, kind of fun and sweet. But I decide to take some of the dark, sultry pictures too, just to see how they feel about it. If they don't like them, we delete them, no big deal. But so often a woman says to me, wow, I didn't realize that there was this side of me also, So it's my job as a photographer, yes, to listen to you and to craft a session based on your needs and hopes and wants and desires, of course. And I feel like it's also my job to maybe be a little bit creative, maybe do a few things that you wouldn't have thought of, a few things that feel opposite to what you normally feel, just to give you the opportunity to see how that alter ego might feel.
What an interesting way to help somebody showcase that they're not one-dimensional.
And to bring some side out of them that they're not even aware of. That's really neat.
I mean, that's what boudoir is, right? It's an opportunity to sort of explore. It's an opportunity to try something new. It's a chance to kind of, peel back some of those layers and see what else is there underneath here. What can I be? It's a little bit of dress up, it's a little bit of costuming, right? And some of us, we can remember when we were kids how fun it was to dress up or to be a character or to be in a play or to wear a Halloween costume, right? But for a lot of women, it's been a long time since we've allowed ourselves permission to do those kinds of things, to play and to explore in that way. And I think there's just like a lot of power in it.
I think that's true. A lot of women don't realize, I mean, when are you in those moments and feeling that carefree, and you're able to demonstrate that for them? That's really neat.
And I think too, sometimes when I talk to women, they become a mom, say, and it's like that takes precedence over, it's like moms can't be sexy or moms can't be sensual or do you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
because you have kids, right?
I do have two teenage daughters.
Oh, how's
As
that going?
Oh, it's good. They're great. Just was at a marching band football game last night. My younger daughter's in the marching band. They're growing up quick. I would say this, as women, we are so often told that our role in life is to give to others. Like being selfless is the paramount is our top achievement. We are told as women often is to give of ourselves to others, give to our children, give to our spouse, give to our job, right? To our communities. And listen, giving back is great and giving to other people is great. But many times as women, we give and give and give and give so much that there's no space, there's no room left for us. There's no room left for a woman to explore her own growth, her own development, right? Because she has been just taken over by giving to other people. And what that can mean in actuality is that if you yourself, it's like you can't pour from an empty well, right? You actually can't give to others at your full capacity if you aren't also meeting your own needs first, right? So paradoxically, sometimes by taking care of ourselves, by reaching our own dreams, by doing some self-care, we can actually give back more than we could if we try to overgive, right? And so one of my messages to women is you deserve to spend a day celebrating yourself. This is not vanity. This is not selfish. In fact, self-care is never selfish. Taking care of yourself, recognizing you have needs, that you're an individual, that you're a person, that you have dreams, that you have things you want to pursue. Your growth and your self-care will actually, in the end, allow you to better serve the people in your life. I don't think typically men don't have this problem. Men have no problem pursuing their dreams and standing up for saying what they need. But as women, it can sometimes be tricky for us to say that. We have this idea that the good girls, the best women, just give and give and give and give, even at their own expense.
Mhm. And the one who doesn't is called selfish.
Exactly.
So it's that whole, they kind of flips the script. And you're right, when a man is a go-getter, that's a great thing. If a woman becomes a go-getter, she's selfish. And so I'm hoping, and I feel like that narrative is changing a little bit, but I think that when women have these places they can go now, that where it's about exploring them and their own sensuality or whatever it is. For some, it could be a spiritual experience. Everybody is so different in what that experience is going to be for them.
Yes, I do think things are changing a little bit. I certainly feel it. My daughter's generation, they're growing up in a different world than I grew up in. And I hope that we are raising a generation of young girls and young women who stand up and say, I deserve to reach my dreams too. I have a place here too. My place is not just to give to others. Of course, I want to give to others. Of course, I want to be there for the people I love. But that's not my only role. I also am an individual. I also have a place. I also deserve to feel good, to pursue dreams. So I hope that message is coming through. I think empowered women are going to rise up and change the world. We need to help them. We need to help women who are reaching their dreams. A boudoir photo shoot can be part of that journey, in my opinion.
I think you're absolutely right. From what I see with that, and also you did a TEDx talk about body image, right? And self-worth and everything. That's really cool. I think that message needs to be heard, and it's wonderful.
And I think having two daughters, I think, is really a good way to motivate you. Because I think as a parent, you want things to be better for your children. You want them to be able to experience, to live their life and have that fulfillment in life, regardless of what it is. How do your daughters feel about you doing this kind of photography and stuff? What do they say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this full time for about a decade, so my kids have grown up knowing that this is what I do. I certainly wouldn't be a boudoir photographer if I felt like I couldn't tell my children that I was doing it, right? So, like, if I felt like it was wrong, I wouldn't do it, right? But I do understand that what I do is still a little bit taboo, right? Like, it's a little bit still outside of the realm of what is completely socially acceptable. And that's because women showing up unapologetically and celebrating their bodies is still viewed as taboo, immoral, wrong, in a lot of places in our society, right? So I hope what my girls take away from what I do is that they are worthy. Nothing that they do or don't do can ever take away from their value or their worth. That they deserve everything that they want to chase after in this life. I hope that as a small business owner that I'm showing them the example of being an entrepreneur and following my own dreams, things like that. Of course, I don't show client pictures to my children. Boudoir is not for children. It's not for teens. It's for adults only. But I hope that the messages of what I'm doing at the Boudoir studio is getting through to them.
Well, I think the message of empowerment as a young woman, as a young person coming up, understand that the only one who's going to put limits on you is you. And I think we don't teach that enough to females, that everything is limitless, but we buy into the narrative and social construct of others and take it on as our own. And therefore, it's hard to get past that. And I think, once again, when you have these avenues, and Matt, I just think all the people, the women out there think, oh crap, I didn't even know that existed. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right, it's a little taboo. So therefore, it's not as advertised, probably. It's not as pushed as it probably should be. And I think, you mentioned women with breast cancer and stuff. And I think that oftentimes, even through that, sometimes there's that thing of, if I have to have a mastectomy, what does that mean to me as a woman?
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a thing with women. And not only that, or, I have had to have C-sections or things like that. And then the body image thing comes into place. Whereas I think when men have it, they just display their scars as battle. Look what I did. You know what I mean?
I mean, part of being a woman is that your body changes many times over the course of your life. I mean, it's just part of the female human experience that your body will change. And trying to embrace each chapter and each change, it can be a challenge. I get it. I mean, I'm not 20 years old anymore myself. I'm in the perimenopause years, right? And there can be challenges with you can sometimes feel like foreign in your body or that your body has betrayed you in some way. People live with chronic pain or chronic diseases or things that can be really a challenge. And I think the trick is to try to maintain that gratitude no matter where you are on the journey.
Absolutely. Have you ever thought of expanding out? Or is it just going to be centralized always to Chicago?
That's a great idea. I have not, I have not franchised out. Some of the things that I am doing to kind of amplify my message, I'm working on a book right now that will be out soon that talks about my empowerment journey and like lessons I've learned from the Boudoir studio. On my website, I also have some resources that anyone in the world can use. Let's say you're not in Chicago, fine. If you come here, I'd love to meet you, of course, but if you're listening and you're not in the area, if you go to my website, I do have some free ebooks. I have a quiz you can take about what kind of a boudoir photo shoot might be fun for you, things like that to get out. Because yes, boudoir is my business. Chicago Boudoir Photography Studio is where I take photos. But I do have this broader mission. I'm trying to help women feel confident, empowered in their own skin.
The resources, people, pay attention.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we'll post all that so that everybody knows where they can find that and stuff. What's next for you? I mean, where do you see yourself? Where do you see in this as far as, you've done this, now what?
That's a great question. Well, people often say to me, you could hire associate photographers and have more people taking the pictures and stuff. But what I really love is being there with women taking the pictures. Like, that's the thing I don't want to outsource. Like, I want to be there for that moment. I want to be there taking the photos. So I hope to keep empowering women. I run a Facebook group with 10,000 women in it where I post every day a conversation starter, a thought topic. I'd love to have you join us there just to talk about what it's like to be a woman in the world today.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I think it's so interesting because when I started my career, I worked mostly with women and children. So for the first, well, 3/4 of my career so far, it's only now that I've gotten more men. So it was really kind of, oh, here I am switching over to men. But in that whole entire time, just all the valuable information you learn from those women. And I imagine the valuable information you learn even from a questionnaire or having these conversations. And sometimes you think, okay, I've heard it all. And then you'll find that exception to the rule. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. How do I incorporate this? And when you see those things come in, and, because you're going to still have women who are trauma-based.
Mm.
So that's going to look different than somebody who's coming in as a celebratory thing. For you, was that an easy thing to do because of your own life experiences, or was it something that you had to learn to navigate a little bit differently?
I mean, I've definitely learned a lot along this journey. When I first started my business, I didn't have a lot of role models or mentors. I didn't know any women who were running businesses. Everyone in my life was either had like a corporate job, or maybe they were a doctor, or they were a stay-at-home mom. Now, of course, I know a lot of boss babes who are running businesses, right? But when I first started, I felt kind of alone. And I wish I'd had more role models, more examples of doing something like this. I think for women, a lot of times it can be hard to be what you can't see, right? So starting a business was hard for me because I had never seen a woman start a business. I really didn't know what that meant or what that entailed. And so what I'm hoping to do is, like, yes, when I started my business, I made a lot of mistakes. I've learned a lot. I mean, there's nothing like running a business to teach you. I mean, it is the MBA on the ground running, right? Like, there's so much learning and growth that happens from running a business. And I hope that I can be that example for other young women who are coming up and who are wanting to do things like that and say, hey, listen, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Mhm.
Well, and I think that's a really important point you made is when we're talking about role models, and oftentimes I talk with people, and particularly parents or whoever, and remind them we're role models to children all the time, no matter where we are. We are a role model. What is our behavior? Because all kids look at is behavior. They really don't listen to our words. It's only what we're doing that they pay attention to. And when we role model that behavior, and I imagine even for your daughters, having that role model now that says, I can do this, even if I don't know, I'm willing to take the plunge. And like you said, you didn't know a whole lot about business or anything, but you took the plunge anyway. Why did you take it?
Yeah, I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to provide this experience to other women. I didn't know how to run a business, but I knew that I wanted to do it. And the thing that I kept saying to myself was, I don't want to be 95 years old and in a nursing home and look back and say, I really wanted to try that thing and I never did it. Like, that's what kept me in the back of my head. Like, I knew it was possible that I would fail. Like, the business could fail and not be profitable enough to keep it going. I knew that was a possibility. And yet the desire to start the business was stronger than the fear of failure. Because even if I started it and failed, I would have known that I at least tried. That's what I knew I wanted to try. The idea of being old and looking back at my life and regretting not trying was very strong for me for some reason. So, I mean, starting a business was not easy. We had to take out a business loan to get started because I had nothing to get started. I had to buy cameras and lights and equipment and set up a website and rent a commercial studio and all these things. And going into debt to start a business was a big deal for me. I'd been taught growing up, never go into debt, don't buy things you don't have money for. And I remember sitting down at the kitchen table with my husband and being like, I hope we can pay off this debt someday. And him kind of being like, hey, you know what? This is so important to you. I'm sure you'll work hard enough to pay off the debt. And I remember saying like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to. And he's like, well, you'll just get a job after, if it fails, you'll just have to get a job and pay off the debt. And I was like, okay, all right, I will get a job and pay off this debt if it doesn't work out, you know? But yeah, there was something within me that really just, the boudoir experience that I had had was so powerful for me. And seeing that and feeling that, I really wanted to provide that experience for other women that kept me going through some of the hard times. And when I first started the business, like the, the wins came quickly. Like those early clients that I saw come in and have such a good time, like it just every time a woman came in and I had a good experience, like it buoyed me to keep going because no one comes into boudoir and is mad about it. I mean, family photos, like people are a little bit mad. Like dad's mad, kids are upset, mom's like stressed about everyone's hair, right? Like weddings are very high stress. Even if you're happy to get married, like it's kind of a high stress situation, right? Like corporate headshots, no one wants to get corporate like so like in terms of as a photographer, Boudoir felt like this place where everyone wanted to be there, and I could be so much more artistically free to create such interesting and new and different types of imagery that like every client I had and continue, you know, this is still the truth for me today, is just such a beautiful experience. That's what gets me waking up in the morning. That's what keeps me running the business because I just love being there with women in this moment. And so even early on, that's what got me through those early. I mean, I worked in my business for 19 months full time before I was able to pay myself $1, right? So imagine waking up and going to work every single day for 19 months and not getting a paycheck, right? Like that was a lot. That was hard. That was some struggle. That was some like waking up and being like, what am I doing here? You know? But I loved seeing women have this experience so much. That's what kept me going.
I think that's what makes it worth it when you can pour your passions into that. And yeah, obviously it's successful. Here you are 10 years later. That's awesome.
What made you decide to go and have the experience yourself?
I think it was just curiosity.
Oh.
I'd heard about it, like people on the internet were starting to chatter about boudoir in photography circles, right? So I was already a photographer doing weddings and babies and stuff, and some of my photographer friends are like, have you heard of this? So I started kind of seeing things and I was curious. I thought I was going in to create a gift for my husband. I knew he was going to like the book I made, like, but what I didn't realize was the impact it was going to have on myself. You know, it seemed like a really fun anniversary gift to give him, and it was, and he loved it. And he says it's the best gift anyone's ever given him. What I didn't understand before I went in was what it would mean to me.
So the gift was really for you.
Exactly.
It's interesting because you talked about, the idea of failure and stuff. And, one of the things I'm a big proponent, I don't ever use that word in my vocabulary. And the reason why I tell people is we're never failing. We're always practicing.
Mhm.
So I always tell them, think about with your little kid, you're teaching them to tie the shoe. You teach them and they can't learn. You don't call them a failure and then never do it again and just let them go with their shoes untied. I said, you realize life is a practice. But I think when we use that narrative of failure, people are so afraid of that word that they refuse to take the plunge. They would rather live their life in that complacency of neither successful or failure sometimes, instead of, I'm going to take this plunge and I'm going to practice until I get it right. And I tell people when they say, well, then you failed when you leave it. And I said, no, you've practiced it. It's something that you realize doesn't resonate with you. So you move on to the next thing. And I think that when we look at those things and we start looking at things as this is practice for life, and we're practicing every day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Every day is a practice. But if we start, as you said, even with that word, we change the letter. And I tell people, if we change the narrative even of failure to practice, how much more people would be doing. It's changing those narratives. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. You're helping people to change the narrative of their life.
Yeah. And that's what I want. I want women to show up less ashamed, less inhibited, more ready, more expansive, more ready to say, this could be me. I could do this instead of, Well, women like me don't do this. Well, I could never. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. I'm the wrong color. I'm the wrong shape. I'm the wrong size. I'm the wrong personality. Maybe you're not. Like, stop limiting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the oldest woman you've
Okay.
taken a photo of? This is kind of
Yeah. So I invite women in my studio. It's 21 plus, right? Like this is an experience for adults. I have women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I've had women in their 60s and 70s come into the studio just yesterday. That's so interesting that you asked me this because just yesterday, the woman I had in my studio, she had a full head of beautiful white hair. I believe she was 68 or 69. Gorgeous white hair. She had some movement, like I want to say she couldn't move her body the way a 20-year-old could move her body anymore. But we were still able to get a lot of beautiful pictures where she had gone and bought the most beautiful corsets. She had 3 different corsets in different colors. And we created so many fun, beautiful pictures for her. And she was not doing this for a man. She was not doing this for a partner. She had actually lost her husband recently and was just enjoying life and wanting to do things for herself. So there's not an expiration date on doing something like this. Boudoir can be a way to celebrate you at any age.
And I think that's what the cool thing is that beauty doesn't stop at a certain age. It really doesn't. And I think that's what you're saying. We are beautiful regardless of the age that we're at and the wrinkles that you have, or this, that, or the other. Maybe you don't have the same flexibility, but I'm going to get you in a pose that's going to make you still feel beautiful. And you're going to see that beauty, So it's such a powerful message. And I think when we do it through our own body, it's different when you see somebody who say is your age or older with that body that you wish you had or what you can use them as kind of a thing, but it's still not going to resonate until you see you in that position. And it's like, oh crap, I can pull this off. I have a great
Yeah.
for.
The whole point of boudoir for me is not to say you have to look a certain way. We're going to make you look like a certain beauty standard, but rather come as you are and we will celebrate you just as you are today. You might say to me, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds before I do this. Fine. Let's do the pictures now. You lose 10 pounds. We'll do a picture then too. You are worthy and valuable at each stage at every size, right? So it doesn't mean you can't go on a fitness journey. It doesn't mean you can't dye your hair. Like whatever you want to do to feel great about yourself, of course. But that at each stage, at each place along the way, you are still worthy and valuable.
It sounds like such a fun and exciting experience. And I love how you guys make it. It sounds very personalized, very intimate, just really about the person coming in. About how long does a shoot take?
So every woman that comes to my studio is going to want to plan to be there for 3 to 4 hours for the full experience. So the first hour is the hair and makeup, right? So I have a beauty team on staff. You can do a very glam look with lashes and a bright red lip, or we can do a very natural, I just rolled out of bed look. Either way, we're going to get you camera ready so that the high definition camera and lights that I use makes everything look flawless. Then you're going to plan for that wardrobe consult where we decide what you're going to wear. I have jewelry and shoes and accessories at the studio that you can borrow. You can bring your own things as well. Then you're going to plan about an hour in front of the camera. I like to photograph each outfit on a different set so that we get different variety. So I have a white bed, I have a black bed, I have floral backdrops, I have plain backdrops, just depending on the vibe we're going for and the outfits you're wearing. I'm going to create a set for each outfit so we get a different looks. And then there's that fun same day photo reveal. And we usually plan for about 45 to 60 minutes to go through all of the pictures. And you can pick out which products you want to purchase. Might be an album, might be a digital download. It might be a piece of framed art to put up in your bathroom, whatever it is that you want to purchase. And then you'll go home and you get to, I always tell women, make some plans that night, right? Like go out to dinner, go with some friends, celebrate because your hair and makeup is still going to look great. You're going to be in a great mood. You're going to feel fabulous. Don't let that good energy go to waste.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. And one of the things that I looked at on the website for the different merchandise that you have, and I love, is the retro viewfinder. That is so
Because I
neat.
want one.
Yes. Okay. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's like I don't have one here right with me, but it's like a little red viewer and you put it to your eyes and it has a button on the side. And as you click the button down, the picture in front of your eyes changes. And what I can do is print your boudoir photos on one of those 3D reels so that when you hold the viewfinder to your eyes, you can click through and see your own pictures in that viewfinder. That is a really fun way to enjoy your boudoir photos.
Oh my God, she saw that and she says like, oh, this is so cool. She says, I would want that.
I was a collector of the whole Viewmaster thing when I was a kid, so I was like, this is so neat.
Yeah, it's the grown-up version.
Yeah.
I wish we had known about you when we were in Chicago.
Yes.
Time for a road trip.
Right.
I know. Now, what's interesting, because we're a couple, do you ever have women, couples who come in and say, we want to have photography done together, those kind of things?
Yeah, so I think couples boudoir is a really fun activity. I don't offer it at my studio. I have done it in the past. My studio right now just focuses on the female empowerment experience, but there are definitely photographers who specialize in that, and I recommend you looking one up and having that experience with your partner as well.
Okay. Because it was one of those things that is interesting, is I feel like you can have those relationships. It sounds like your husband's very much about your empowerment as well. And I think when you have those people in your life that are on that journey and are supportive of that journey, because they're not going to look the same. But I think that's another really key thing is when women are doing things, that self-empowerment, but also when they have those people that are saying to them, to, even some of your clientele where those people, whether it's friends, family, whatever, saying, yes, go do this. Even if it scares you or you think it's not for you, get in there and do it. I think is a way of helping to enhance that and help people have the courage sometimes to do it. Because I met, when we're interesting, because, you as a group of friends, as women get together and say, well, I think that would be really cool, but I don't have the body for it. And then before you know it, if they're really about empowering you, it's like they're helping you dial the number, It's not beautiful. And it sounds like you're just part of that extension of that empowerment.
Yeah, I do feel like when women come into my studio for those 3 or 4 hours, we are like BFFs, right? I'm their biggest hype girl. We're really good friends. I mean, there are so many women who've come into the studio where I say, oh, I wish we could hang out more after this. Like, I feel like we're friends now. I've photographed nearly 2,000 women in the studio over the 8 years that I've done this. And some of them have stayed in my Facebook group, and I feel like I've gotten to know them a little bit better. And that's a fun part of my job.
Oh, how wonderful. I mean, and once again, for anybody listening, sometimes you find empowerment in the least likely places or the places you would never think of. And I don't think a lot of women would think of that. And I think you said it really well, is that they think it's taboo. Mm-hmm. And I think you're changing that stigma of what this is. And hopefully through this podcast, we can continue to spread that word that a woman's body and how she feels about it can be very empowering, and it doesn't have to be taboo. And when we're doing these things, make it about you. And it sounds like it's a very personal thing. And we are just so happy that there are places out there that are doing this and they're coming more to life. And you're encouraging women to be a better version of who they are, which is such an important message that we believe in.
When somebody's looking at doing something like this, is this like something that can break the bank, or as far as charge and that, what's your feedback on that? Do people feel like this is something I can't do, but based on that even?
Great question. So, I mean, of course, boudoir is a luxury experience, right? Like it's an extra in life. And so that is going to be like something that's going to be in your budget for luxuries, not necessities, right? Yeah. The way I work my pricing is that you pay a session fee up front before you come into the studio. And that's going to be between $99 and $399, depending on what you want to sign up for. And that reserves your date and time at the studio and also includes the professional hair and makeup and the photo shoot time. Then when you come to the studio, what you decide to purchase after your photo shoot, after you see the photos, that's going to be up to you. So some people spend a lot of money, some people spend less money. It depends on, some people have ordered like several large pieces of wall art, right? And that's going to cost more than if you get a little black book, right? So how much you spend on your pictures is up to you after you see your pictures, how many pictures you buy and what format. I also offer payment plans, financing, things like that. I want this to be available to people at in many different budgets. I have women from all walks of life who come into my studio and decide that this is important for them. Of course, it's not a need, it's a luxury, it's something to do, but there are women who say, even though this is a luxury, even though it feels expensive, it's something I really want right now, and I'm going to work that into the budget. So yeah, that's how it works for me in terms of pricing at the studio. I have some people who, spend a couple $100s on their products after they see their pictures, some who spend several thousand, depending on what they want to get from their photo shoot.
Really
The pricing itself, that doesn't sound bad for what you're getting.
I think
it sounds really.
Yeah, what you take away from it sounds like,
That's what I
gonna be
mean.
worth
That's
every penny of that. So
that sounds like a really great way to build yourself up and find you. And so that doesn't seem the trade-off seems like simple.
I mean, that's how I view it too. I think every woman deserves to have this and deserves to experience it. But yeah, I mean, like you say, depending on your budget and whatever, I'm not selling a life-saving medication. I always tell people, like, you got to take care of your four walls and your family and stuff, of course. But if you can find a way to put this into your budget, like, I absolutely recommend it. Like, it's the kind of thing people tell me, I wish I did it 5 years ago. I wish I'd done this. So if you're feeling kind of the pull to do something like this, if it excites you, like, I know for me, it was a big deal. And I'm so glad that I did it when I did it. And of course, I've done a lot of boudoir photo shoots since. I have boudoir photographer friends now. I was recently at a conference in Las Vegas where photographers got together at like a trade show. And a bunch of boudoir photographers, we ended up in a hotel room together in our underwear, taking pictures of each other, doing some boudoir. So like, I've done a lot of boudoir photo shoots now, and it's still fun every time. So yeah, of course, I mean, I believe in this. I love it.
Wow.
really cool.
What an experience. And I think when you said, women who sit there and say, oh, I wish I had done this 10 years ago, I always tell people it happens when it's supposed to happen, which is kind of cool, because it's not that, oh, I regret not doing it then when I had this body. You were okay with who you were then, maybe, and now is when you need that extra boost or whatever. So for anybody listening, if this is resonating with you, if you're not in Chicago, you got to find it somewhere, but start looking it up. Find those things, find those places. And if you are in Chicago, you can always find Liz at
ChicagoBoudoir.com.
Yeah. Check it out. And if nothing else, get on there, look at those photos. They are so phenomenal. I mean, we fell in love with several of them. It was just amazing. We are so grateful that you joined us, and we are so grateful that you are about the empowerment of women, and particularly in the area of body. We need more of this. And so thank you so much for the work that you do. It's important. It's powerful.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Also, you can find Liz Hansen on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We'll be posting all of those links for the episode.
Yes. So once again, thank you. For back in Chicago, we know where to go.
Yeah.
See,
Well, thanks.
I told her, I said, oh my gosh, we got to go to Chicago.
It would be fun. I'd love to have you.
I love Chicago. I'd never been there. So it was really,
Last year was the first
year we went. So it was really fantastic for me. So I would definitely make a trip back there. Yeah. And see, now we have a reason. Not that we didn't before. It's a beautiful city. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And for everybody out there, we're always grateful for every one of you who tunes into us. And we appreciate you and have immense gratitude. And we will be back. Thank you so much.